another Total Access Overtime. We have a great panel again today. Mark Ross, Jane Slater, Cynthia Freeland. I'm Kim Jones. The question of the day, guys, is this. Which non-quarterback rookie are we going to be talking about after week one this season?
Well, I'm going to start this one off, and I'm going to talk about someone who, look, we don't always talk about all the guys who, until fantasy season starts, are going to light up our fantasy board week one. But why not? It's June, where it's almost July. We should absolutely be doing that. And Terrace Marshall Jr., week one, he's going to be someone that you want to get into your fantasy lineup. Why? Well, one, he has a reunion with his college coordinator in Joe Brady. He knows how to use him. Two, Sam Darnold is facing his former team, the Jets, and the Jets secondary. Yeah, I'm a little confused what to expect from them. So what I see in this game, what I forecast for this game, is Terrace Marshall Jr. absolutely outperforming expectations and being a guy who after week one, we're like, we got to go pick him up on every single fantasy waiver wire.
And interesting too, Cynthia, Des Bryant's wide receivers coach, who also trains a bunch of guys, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, I think worked with them at one point. He was working out with Terrace Marshall and even told me ahead of the draft, this was a guy to keep an eye on. And he got a lot of the targets in the absence of Jamar Chase, when Jamar Chase obviously decided to opt out last season. He was fast at his pro day. He was strong. And I was told that he operates in the slot, even though he's a big outside physical guy. So I think that's a pretty interesting choice there. I don't think a lot of people are talking about Terrace Marshall, but I think they should.
Yeah. And you talk about big and physical. You talk about big and physical, that he's like a basketball player. And someone who's going to have to be big and physical that I almost talked about in this one, but everyone already knows. We're going to also be talking a lot about Naji Harris after this first week. Mm-hmm. Is he the guy that the Steelers really wanted to draft? They need that run game. We've seen Ben Roethlisberger switch to these quick, short passes, and they need a run game in order to make those really effective and efficient. But we saw that kind of erode last season. So for me, Naji Harris, he's going to be on your fantasy team already, though. So I don't know if he's going to be as much of a surprise, but we're certainly going to be talking about whether or not he paid off that first-round expectation that the Steelers put on him.
Here will be the surprise for you, Cynthia. Do they commit to the run game? Well, do they actually do it?
Mark, who you have?
Well, Cynthia talked about Terrace Marshall reuniting with his offensive coordinator. Well, I'm going to go with the guy, Jamar Chase, who's going to from LSU, who's going to reunite with his college quarterback, Joe Burrow. And the last time these guys were together, they just set all kinds of records. Joe Burrow won every award you could imagine, prolific with his stats, like historical stats that he had. Jamar Chase had 20 touchdowns that season when LSU won the national championship, averaged 21.2 yards per catch on 84 catches. Justin Jefferson was on that team. We know he became a prolific rookie receiver, but Jamar Chase was the man when LSU offense was rolling on people. And also the first week of the season, Cincinnati plays Minnesota at home. Minnesota last year had the 29th ranked defense in points per game, the 25th ranked defense in passing yards given up per game. Really, the only big contribution they made on that defense was Patrick Peterson, who's a little bit long in the tooth, may not be able to shut down Jamar Chase. And I just think with Jamar Chase reuniting with Joe Burrow, they're going to be very prolific. Jamar Chase will be the offensive rookie of the year this year, just like his teammate Justin Jefferson last year.
Yeah, he averaged 21 yards a catch back at LSU when he was with Joe Burrow. Jane, you have another pick for us, another rookie who a lot is expected of, I think.
Well, I just wanted to quickly chime in on you, Mark, too. I mean, I did a piece with Jamar Chase ahead of the draft, and that was a guy that is chomping at the bit to get back out on the football field. In fact, he was still living on campus and at one point considered opting back in. And at that point, it was too late. When I asked him how excited he was to get back out there and play, he said he was ready. So I think that we can expect big things from him because even in that time away, he was actually training here in Frisco, not far from where I'm doing this broadcast, and he got faster and quicker. Now, obviously, he was not an option for the Dallas Cowboys. They certainly didn't need another wide receiver, but they had their eyes on the guy that went to the Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts. It was Jerry Jones who talked about him being a generational type player, and of course he is. He's 6'6", 250, runs a 4.4 40. And now you've got Arthur Smith coming over from the Titans over to Atlanta, who's going to be scheming things up for him. You've got a veteran quarterback in Matt Ryan, and now you've got no Julio Jones. But around him, you've got Calvin Ridley, Mike Davis, Russell Gage, Hayden Hurst. This could be a really interesting offense, and I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a lot to do with their success. Of course, you still have to factor in the fact that they're going to have to face Tom Brady and that defense, guys like Devin White. That might be the only thing that shuts him down this season.
Yeah, Jane, Kyle Pitts was my favorite player in the draft last year. I thought he was the most talented player in the entire draft, regardless of position. And I thought, wow, when he got paired with Julio Jones, that they will be unstoppable. But then once they got rid of Julio, I thought, you know what? A little bit more attention is going to get paid to Kyle Pitts. They, as you mentioned, some of the offensive playmakers they still have, but taking away Julio Jones may affect his effectiveness a little bit because he'll get more attention, whereas Julio would have been out of there. That being said, I still think he is going to be a perennial Pro Bowl player, unlike any tight end that I have ever scouted in 20 plus years, and he's just going to be a special player in this league.
His arms are like as long as Kevin Durant, and he's not even that tall. His catch radius is insane, and he's going to be a big red zone threat. So I love that pick, too.
I like a rookie receiver who's not that big, Cynthia, but he's got great speed and great hands, and that's Devonte Smith. He'll be on the field with those Atlanta corners in week 1. I think we'll be talking about the Heisman Trophy winner after that game. Can't wait to see him back with Jalen Hurts, making that Alabama connection for the Eagles. And I think that teams in the NFC East are going to really regret that the Eagles were the ones who went up and got Smith. I think he's going to, I know he's not big, but I know he's special.
Not a bad pick, and they certainly needed a wide receiver.
Yeah, Kim, as you said, a lot of teams are upset. As you know, there in East Rutherford, the Giants really had their eyes on those two Alabama guys, and when they both went ahead of them, I think there was a lot of heartbreak going on there in East Rutherford with the Giants in the Giants building.
This is the fun, right? A few weeks out, several weeks out, we get to envision these rookies and these young players making such an impact in the NFL, beginning, of course, with week 1. Mark, Jane, Cynthia, thanks so much.